Uncle Colin Cowherd's best bets for Wild Card Weekend. Welcome, football fans, grid, iron gamblers, and all of my degenerates. It's Mitch here to react to none other than the legendary Colin Cowherd's Blazin 5, his best bets, his playoff picks for Wild Card round. If you're ready, Gronk, spike the like button. Let me know in the comments if Colin is correct or if Colin is crazy. Just because it's the playoffs, you thought that this was gonna end? These reactions were gonna stop? Absolutely not. Welcome to Money Mitch. It's time to examine whether or not Colin is going to make some money this week. Let's get to it. Gronk, spike the like button. Check out my best bets if you haven't already. Let's see what Colin's got for Wild Card round. Okay, let's go, Uncle Colin. Give me some good picks, man. 60%, baby.
Blazing 5 time. What a regular season. We had 60%. Best year in a while. I like my picks. Let's start our Blazing 5 postseason edition.
Has he ever said, I don't like my picks? I'm just going to throw that out there. I don't think it would be wise for me, for Colin, or for any other person that posts their best bets on the internet to say, hey, pal, buddy, good old friend, I don't like my picks this week. Maybe you shouldn't trust me. I'm just throwing that out there. But Colin, I don't think you need to say, I like my picks. I really don't think you need to say that. But let's see if you do really like your picks. And let's see if I, more importantly, Jabroni, like your picks. Let's go, guys.
That's a hot one. Let's blaze it up. Fire it up. It's Colin's Blazin' 5. Rams and Panthers.
Rams minus 10.5 is the side. They had an NFL.
First of all, kicking off playoff picks by laying 10.5 points is absolute testicular fortitude. You have to respect it. But honestly, if I were on a side in this game, which I probably won't be, I would be on the Rams. I'm not going to lie. I lean with Colin here. So I think he's correct on this one. But let's hear the reasoning for the Rams minus 10.5.
8 wins by 14 plus points this season. No team had that many big blowout wins.
That's a good stat. That's a good stat. That means they cover big spreads. Good stat.
Number 1 offense, number 1 scoring offense. They just lost to this team. That is momentum. That is motivation. They're 12-2.
Motivation, but I don't know if it's necessarily a reason why you would want to back them in a game where they play in the same venue and maybe the same conditions. I don't think that losing to the team actually helps your argument, but okay.
In games in which they have 1 or fewer turnovers. So if they can cut the turnovers down, and Stafford hasn't had a lot of bad games this year, they're going to win the game. The question is by how much.
Yeah, so going back to that first game, the Rams lost because of turnovers. One was a pick six, one was a fumble in the Panthers red zone, one was an interception in the Panthers red zone. They actually only faced 5 third downs the entire game. And honestly, they could have easily scored 40 points. They ran the ball at the best rate of any team in the NFL this season. I'll say that again. The Rams had the highest success rate running the ball against the Panthers, which is a rematch. And they lost. They ran the ball better than any team against any opponent this season. This is who they play in the playoffs. So it was a wild game the first time around. I think that's a good way to put it. The Panthers had 3 home run touchdowns on offense. 2 of them were on 4th down. 30-plus yard completions for touchdowns. So they need to take those explosives and high leverage plays away. They need to eliminate the turnovers. And if they can do that, they should win this game by double digits because they were getting first down after first down without even reaching 3rd down. And I do believe they're going to be able to dictate the line of scrimmage and run the rock right down the Panthers' throat. So I think Colin's on to something here. They should be able to control the game on the ground regardless of whether it's raining or not. They'll be able to move the ball because of that.
Panthers are the only team to make the playoffs with a negative point differential. Bryce Young has struggled this season against good teams. Passer rating is 70 against playoff teams.
He did play well against the Rams, though. He had 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, 15 for 20. He did play well against the Rams, and the Rams have not played that well in the secondary lately. So the reason I am not betting the 10.5 myself, despite what I said about the run game of the Rams and the offense of the Rams, and I think the Rams are going to score, is there could be weather. It is on the road. These road teams that somehow make the playoffs with negative point differential do actually win sometimes. And then the last final point is the Rams defense has not been trustworthy lately. You look at how many points they've been giving up down the stretch to not great offenses either. Like a couple decent ones, but they've been susceptible. I think they're 31st against receivers since week 13. They've allowed 30 plus, like 3 out of the last 5 or something. So the Rams have been defensively, I don't know. Plus Robert Hunt comes back for the Panthers. I think the Panthers could move the ball a bit on the Rams. I actually like the over a little bit more than the spread here, but again, like I could easily see the Rams winning like 34-20 and covering the spread. You know what I'm saying? But again, the weather is weird. Like,
Rams win it. Rams cover. Final score 33-20.
That would be my score too. 33-20, 34-20, 34-21. Somewhere in that range. I agree with that. I agree with the pick. I probably just won't make it myself just because 10.5 in a playoff game on the road is just a lot of points. It's a lot of points. Let's see what his second pick is. You guys let me know. Are you betting the Rams this weekend? Or are you on the Panthers?
Packers and Bears.
I like the Bears at home. Lousy weather plus 1.5.
Interesting. I like the Packers, but I don't have like a strong play on the side. I actually prefer, again, the total. I like the over in this game. Go check out my best bets, guys.
Bears have the number 3 rush offense. Don't turn the ball over. Better O-line, better run game, lousy weather. Forget vertical passing. I like the Bears. Their offensive line, I think it's way better than people get. PFF has it at number 3. They've won 2 of the last 3 games against Green Bay. Caleb Williams, 5 TDs and a pick. And that pick was end zone late in the game trying to make a play. The Packers are on a 4-game losing streak heading into the playoffs. They've lost 4 of their last 5 playoff games. 30th ranked total defense. Since Micah Parsons has left, I'm sorry, it's not the same defense. Caleb's going to be comfortable with a better run game. I like the Bears. Take the points to win 27-24.
What scares me about the Bears is their defense. I'm not that worried about the offense. I do think they're going to move the ball, and that's why I like the over. I think they will be able to run the ball, although it wasn't overly successful in the last game they played against the Packers without Devontae Wyatt, without Micah Parsons, by the way. Caleb didn't really do much until the 4th quarter. Throwing that out there, right? What scares me about the Packers and the Bears and taking the Bears is that the Packers have controlled both games thoroughly. They controlled the time of possession of the last game. They were 0 for 5 in the red zone, including a fumble. If they just score 1 touchdown in the red zone, they win that game. They had to deal with switching quarterbacks in the middle of the second quarter. They've had a lot of injuries, and they've been rested now. They've had a week of rest. They didn't play anyone against the Vikings. So Zach Tom is back. Christian Watson's healthy. Josh Jacobs is healthier. Jordan Love's healthier. Romeo Doubs, Reed, etc. Their weapons are fully there, except for Kraft. So they're just going to be a healthier team than I kind of feel like they were against Chicago in that second game. Chicago only won that game because of an onside kick. Remember that? And Green Bay has been able to run the ball, possess the ball, work it downfield. Chicago is also just not a good pass defense. And I kind of just think the Packers are better in coverage defensively, better in their pass game offensively. Yes, Chicago can run the ball better, And I could see why they win because of that. But the bottom line of this game is who controls the game through possession. The Packers have masterfully done that in the first two meetings. Can Chicago flip that? If they can win. Either way, I like the over. He's got 27-24. That feels very accurate to me. It's going to be a one-score game. A one-score game. Very close. I lean Packers because of what I've seen in the first two games. You guys let me know what you think in the comments.
Bills at Jaguars.
I like the Jags plus 1.5. They're
I agree.
4-1 all time in home playoff games, 8-0 since week 11, and have outscored teams by almost 3 touchdowns.
They have played a lot of bad teams, to be fair. Denver was really impressive. Chargers was really impressive. Other than that, Brady Cook, Riley Leonard, all right.
8-0 against the spread in their last 8 games.
That's
Remind me of
That's pretty impressive too. That also indicates, what does that indicate? 8-0 against the spread. That indicates Vegas doesn't know what they're talking about when it comes to Jacksonville. They don't know how good this team is, and they don't have them priced correctly. And out of everything I've heard, and I've listened to a million shows this week for analysis, for picks, for bets, because I live it. I love it. The number one thing I've heard about this game, and a lot of people like the Jags, and that's scary to a degree against Josh Allen and the Bills, because the Bills are favored for a reason. But that reason is probably history. That reason is probably the Josh Allen effect, and probably the public. Like, they probably know, like, the public wants to bet on Josh Allen. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, everyone is like, this is not priced correctly. A lot of people are saying that. So I think that the trend indicates that they aren't priced correctly, that Jacksonville, in fact, is underrated. They keep covering spreads, period.
that Carolina team with Cam Newton. They just got hot. And you're like, get out of the way. Get out of the way of this team. Defense is held opponents under 20 points or fewer in 6 straight games. And Trevor Lawrence in his last 6 games on an absolute heater. The Bills have trailed in the second half 7 of the last 10 games. That is no way to beat good teams on the road. Yeah. They cannot stop the run. The Bills have the worst run defense of every playoff team. I like the Jags to win. Superman or not at quarterback for Buffalo, 30-27 Jayville.
I like the score. I think it will also be high scoring. He's right in terms of the run game. The run game is why I like Jacksonville. I think Jacksonville will be able to run the ball, and the Bills need to run the ball to win. The Bills are the number 1 rushing team in the league. Number 1 rusher in the league, James Cook. Jacksonville, number 1 run defense. So, yards first, top 5 in yards per carry. They also haven't allowed a 75-yard rusher. So, James Cook should be contained. They have athletic, good edge rushers, Josh Hines Allen, Trayvon Walker. They've got 2 really fast and athletic and rangy linebackers, Alua Khan, Devin Lloyd. The Bills don't have good receivers. Don't think they can expose the weakness of Jacksonville, which is their secondary, in my opinion, especially their safeties. And then Lawrence is on fire. If they can run the ball on offense with Travis Etienne, which I think they will be able to against this weak Bills run defense, because Bills haven't really stopped anyone running the ball. That will open things up for Brian Thomas, Jacoby Myers, Parker Washington, who's on fire, Brenton Strange, etc. And that will allow Trevor Lawrence to be comfortable. I also think the screen game could be effective for Jacksonville here. It's also the climate difference for Buffalo at this time of the year, going to Jacksonville. Buffalo on the road in the playoffs in their history haven't won since 1993, I think, like 30 plus years. So the trends would suggest Jacksonville. Jacksonville's playing better. Jacksonville has, to me, less flaws. And I think Jacksonville has a strong matchup against Buffalo, because the thing that Buffalo wants to do most, run the ball and overpower you, I don't think they can do against this Jags team.
49ers at Eagles.
Listen, I'm going to go Eagles -5.5. I worry about Pearsall and Trent Williams.
I've actually seen 6 pop up, so this is actually a decent play based on the number alone. It could get back to 5.5. I wouldn't be that surprised by that. I don't trust the Eagles laying this many points. Not even at home. I mean, they've just played way too many gritty, grindy, grimy games. Like, their offense is just so inept that I cannot ask anyone to lay 6 points or ask the Eagles to beat a playoff team by a touchdown. It's just asking way too much. Their defense is awesome. Their O-line, really good pass protection unit. But they're not a good offense. They're one of, if not the worst offense in the entire playoffs, guys. They're really that bad. Like, you look at some of their statistics. They are first in 3 and outs. They're a bottom 10 offense in the league. People will bring up their talent, but they don't bring up their scheme. They don't bring up how they actually perform, which is my problem. The Niners have by far the better offense here. But the Eagles' defense is why you would take them to win, which I will take them to win. That being said, the Niners can also outcoach this team. Right? Offensively, the Eagles just don't have an identity. They're poor play calling. Robert Saleh can figure something out to slow down Saquon, force Jalen Hurts to throw the ball consistently against zone coverage. On the other side, Kyle's going to make some plays against Vic Fangio. This is, McCaffrey, Kittle. Even without Trent and Ricky, 6 points is a lot of points in a game that is going to be like 20-14. It's going to be a lower scoring game. I love the under here. I think that is the better bet. But they're like, the Niners are going to run the ball. They're really good on third down. They're first in the league. Eagles defense 21st in the league. So if they can go on long drives and run the ball with CMC, keep it away from the Eagles, that's going to make the game shorter. It's going to keep the game close, and it's going to keep the Niners defense on the sidelines, right? Also, you just look at the trends, like Philly scored 15 points against Chicago at home. Chicago's defense stinks. Like, the Niners defense is terrible too. It's the same sort of deal, right? They barely beat the Lions in a grinder football game. The Packers 10-7. They lost to the Dallas defense 24-21, right? Something like that. They lost to the Chargers with no offensive line 22-19. They beat the Bills by 1 point. So every good caliber team that they've played, or above average team, which would include Green Bay, Detroit, Dallas, Chicago, the Chargers, the Bills. How many of those games did they win by margin? None of them. Did they win any of them by more than a touchdown? So to me, I just don't know. Yes, overwhelming talent advantage, for sure. But this is an Eagles defense that's 19th in points per game, 24th in yards, 22nd in success rate. The quarterback's not playing very well. Their defense is outstanding. That's why you would take them. They've got an interior pass rush. They've got Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean. They're the best pass defense maybe in the league. I mean, second in rating, first in touchdowns allowed, first in completion percentage allowed. They don't really have to blitz to get pressure. They're number 1 against tight ends, right? All these different metrics. They're really good at middle of the field defense, which is what Brock Purdy wants to do. So I totally see why people like the Eagles, but at the same time, you look at their results, and it's against every formidable foe they've played, they have not won by margin. In fact, they've lost numerous games against decent teams. They've been able to beat the Raiders 31-0, but not even the Cowboys or the Bears. You know what I'm saying?
They do have the number 1 red zone offense, so they get 7s, not 3s. They also have 1 turnover in the last 3 games. So they've won 3 straight games. I do think they run the ball a little better recently. Saquon Barkley, last 4 games, he's got 400 rushing yards. They're at home. They're the better team. They're the healthier team. Listen, the Niners against Vic Fangio, J-Mac talked about it earlier this week. The Niners and Shanahan against Vic Fangio average 12 points a game.
Yeah, this is a bad stat, though, because I've seen this stat. This is a bad stat because all these numbers are from 2018 or previous. And if you look at the quarterbacks Like these are Shanahan versus Vic Fangio stats. 13.8 points per game allowed by Fangio. If you look at the quarterbacks, I think one of the quarterbacks was John Beck. Like, one of them was Nick Mullins. Like, that is not real stats. There might have been one Jimmy G game in there. Like, really? That's what you're judging that matchup off of is John Beck? Like, it's just a bad stat. I'm sorry. It's a bad stat.
Struggle against him. And they're too dependent on Christian McCaffrey. The defense has...
I actually think this is going to be a huge McCaffrey game. If the Niners win, it's because McCaffrey goes crazy. Because Chicago was able to run the ball on them. If the Niners can run the ball a bit, and then the other matchup they have is him in the pass game. That's where the Eagles are kind of weak, is those one-on-ones in the pass game against the running back. We saw Jahmyr Gibbs have like 10 catches against them.
The fewest sacks in the league. Jalen Hurts is comfortable at home, better roster, healthy.
The Niners have no pass rush. They have no linebackers. They're completely beat up. The question is, can the Niners be exposed by the Eagles? Because the Eagles, they can't take advantage of anyone right now on offense because they're just so inept on offense. They had no passing yards against the Bills in the second half. 0. -1.
Your roster. I'm going to take the Eagles to win and the Eagles to cover 28-20.
Yeah, I do not see the score being that high. I would be genuinely surprised. I think it would be impressive for the Niners to score 20 points. Second of all, 28 by the Eagles. I don't know. I don't know. I think it's more like if they cover, I could see them covering by like a point. I could see it being like 24-17. Maybe they cover that way, but we'll see. We'll see.
Oregon versus Indiana.
College game. I don't know if this video will be out by the time this game is being played. By the way, I did release a best bet for this game on Patreon. I don't usually do college bets, but I've been betting myself a little bit on the college playoff, so I figured that I would post it on Patreon as well. Go check that out if you want to check it out. Patreon for all my bets that I actually make with my YouTube money. Go check it out. Link in the description, guys.
Like Indiana -3.5. I don't think that game at Autzen was...
I think Indiana's going to win. I don't know if they're going to cover, but I would lean that way. I do think Indiana will win this game. We'll see what happens, though. Let's see what Colin says.
The score, close as the score indicated. Indiana's coming off back-to-back wins where they hammered Alabama and they beat Ohio State. 3-0 against top 10 opponents this year. I'd argue Indiana plays better against better teams. They crushed a good Illinois team. They hammered Oregon at Autzen. They
didn't hammer them. I think it was like 30-20, but...
You know, they pushed around Ohio State, did they not? Committed fewer turnovers of any Power 4 team this season. 8 giveaways. They don't make mistakes. The quarterback's probably the best player in college football. And Oregon, their defense has gotten a little leaky, defending the run in 2 of their last 3 games. Oregon's a very good team. I just don't think they're built to beat an Indiana team that is this efficient, this well coached, doesn't turn the ball over. I think Indiana wins. I think Indiana covers. I think it's a really competitive game with the 2 best college quarterbacks. Indiana 33, Oregon 28. So
I think it will be a little lower scoring than this, but we'll see what happens. Oregon's offense, I think their defense is pretty legit, but from what I've seen from their offense, I'm not sure that they'll move the ball that well on Indiana, but it'll be interesting. Let me know who you guys like in the college football playoff, who you think is going to win the whole thing. Miami just won last night. That was pretty sick. Michael Irvin getting that belt out, baby.
I'm going to pass on New England Chargers. I'm going to pass on the Steelers Texans because the number now is only 3. That was going to be my 5th bet.
All right, so he's got Rams -10.5. Like I said, probably too many points there, but I would lean Rams. I actually am on the opposite side, Packers against the Bears, although it's not my favorite bet in the game. Jacksonville, Buffalo, I like Jacksonville, money line. Eagles, -5.5 against the Niners. I would lean Niners, but with 6. I've seen 6s. Eagles, I think will win a close game, ugly game. And then Indiana, sure, I'm on Indiana too. So there you guys go. Thanks for watching. Gronk, spike the like button if you enjoyed. Subscribe and check out Patreon for all of my NFL playoff best bets. Peace, guys.